everyone, it's Catherine. I just made a quick and dirty guide on how I was able to find a full-time job and avoid being rejected as much as possible. I decided to field your personal questions for your experience, everything you're concerned about, what you want to know, what you don't know. I did this through my Instagram, so if you want to look through other people's questions as well, I'll have that post linked down below. The number one most overwhelming question that was repeated again and again in that comment thread was when to do internships. When in your college career or outside of your college career, is it okay? Is it advisable? If you're undecided your freshman year, should you do internships? If you're not in college yet, should you do internships? If you're out of college, can you do internships? And the real answer is do internships whenever and wherever you can. It is so valuable. A lot of us feel insecure because we don't have an experience on our resume yet, and getting an internship your freshman year can be the best way to do that. It doesn't have to be something crazy. It can be really just 5 hours of freelance work on the side. It can be at a very boutique little company. It could just be working maybe with one of your professors in some capacity. But it is really never too early and it is never too late to apply for internships. The next healthy chunk of questions were all about what do I do if I don't have experience yet? And internships are this funky, vicious cycle where to get an internship, you have to have an experience, but to get experience, you have to have an internship. It's a cyclical thing that kind of keeps you trapped. If you don't have formal internship experience, volunteer somewhere. You can start doing tutoring, join clubs on campus that might do freelance work for the local community, or what's really possible on an individual level is you developing some sort of portfolio. So for me, I'm kind of into marketing. I started a YouTube channel. I recently just put up a blog, which is my first time doing that. And although you might not have thousands of followers, just maybe doing a blog on your favorite things happening in the industry right now, you can really put that on your resume as something that, you spend time on every single week if you have nothing else to put there. And that way they can see, what you're serious about. If you want to go in the STEM field, you can do a blog, about STEM and Hollywood or, STEM in the media today and just kind of highlight recent news articles and how those apply to you. Literally, if no one reads it, it does not matter. As long as you're spending time on it and being consistent with it, that's impressive on a resume. And now for my favorite question of the bunch, Sydney Lauren H. said, honestly, how? That's an incredibly valid question, Sydney. I don't really know how I even got the job I do today. I don't know how I pretty much landed any internships. It feels so overwhelming when you're in it. The description box of this video will hopefully answer at least part of that question with other videos of mine and with other resources that I literally worshipped during my application process. Hunter.Ertz asked, when is the best time to start applying for internships? On a yearly basis, there's really never a bad time to apply. Most of them pop up in the beginning of the semester, so if you can stay vigilant around August, September, and then around even late December, early January, those are usually when most of the positions are posted, but I've still found stuff that was posted in March. I found stuff that was posted in July. You have no idea. So even when you're in an internship, it can even be a good idea to start looking for others to apply to. Emma Claire X asked, should there be a certain amount of internships you do during your studies? Would it be beneficial to have multiple internships from different places, or should I focus on getting one for where I want to work as a full-time job? I subscribe to the philosophy that you should have a diversity of experience. Go abroad, go international, maybe do an internship or do research or volunteer. That can show that you're willing to step outside of your comfort zone, maybe do something in your local town, your college town, work for a small company, work for a big company, work part-time, work full-time. I really don't think that you should be looking to really have it all stacked together and layer perfectly. Most of the companies want to see that you're able to challenge yourself, you're able to learn quickly, and you can demonstrate that by showing that you have done internships in all sorts of areas and learned each of those that given semester or that given summer, and then you can do that again for them. The Rachel 5 said, how do you research a list of internships to apply to? How do you narrow that down? How many to apply to? Do not narrow your list down. If anything, you should be looking at how to beef your list up. There is no limit of internships you should apply to. I remember when I was applying to GoPro, they had one marketing position, but then I applied to their sales position. I applied to their business analytics position. I applied to literally every single position on that website so that by the time I was done, instead of just applying to one, I had 7 applications going in there. I ended up being rejected to every single one of those, but nonetheless, it helps to kind of just increase your odds by widening the span of how many you apply to. More than anything, you all want to know, how do you find internships? I have a whole video dedicated to that, so I'll link that up here as well as down below if you want to click on that. Rachel Lemonade asked a great question. She said, what are your tips on Skype and phone interviews specifically? A lot of times your first round interview is going to be over the phone or via Skype, which is, number one, weird, because I don't know if you've ever met someone over the phone, but it's really hard to gauge when to talk if you're interrupting them. Also over Skype, it's hard because you have the camera, but then you have the screen, so you want to look at yourself in the screen, but then you're not actually looking at the person watching the video. So it's kind of like if someone's looking in a viewfinder versus looking in the camera, you can tell. So both Skype and phone interviews have their challenges, but they also have a huge benefit in that they cannot see what's going on behind the camera or outside of the phone. So you can actually prepare a huge Google Doc of every question they could possibly ask you, of every piece of information. Like if they ask you, hey, what's the latest product you like from us? Or what's a cool initiative you think we should do? You can already have the information prepped and ready in front of you, so you don't have to blank out and think about it. You already have it there ready to go. If you are not taking advantage of phone and Skype interviews in that way, you are missing out. I guarantee you most other people that are interviewing in that way already have those lists prepared. Annabelle Springer 25 said, did you learn about the companies you wanted to become involved with through your alumni network or just by doing your own research? Google was my number one friend. I would literally just look up, list of startups in LA or list of startups in the Bay Area, or I'd go on LinkedIn and I would see articles people had written. I would try to find, job application blogs of other people in similar industries than me and try to find their whole list of places they applied to. I really didn't find where I was applying to through alumni or through my career center. If I was in Costco and I was buying, a bulk pack of Tide Pods, I would say, hey, I like Tide Pods, maybe I should work for Tide. And I would just go on the internet, search that up, see if they have positions available. I did not limit myself. I really just wanted to land something. I didn't even know if I would land anything. So most important, just don't limit yourself. Kind of look all over, wherever. You shouldn't be just relying on alumni, just relying on the internet. Kind of feed into both of those. Amy and Trong asked a really difficult question, but a really important one, and that's, how do you overcome imposter syndrome? So a lot of times when you're in college or when you're applying to jobs or when you're in an internship, it might not feel like you always deserve it, especially if you're kind of outside your comfort zone. If you're a first generation college student, if you don't look like the typical worker there, as in like you're an atypical gender, atypical race, or just like you don't feel like everyone else there, that is a very valid feeling. It happens to a lot of people, and especially in the job application process, it can feel very much like, maybe I'm getting rejected because I don't deserve it, because I'm not the right fit, because I'm not ready to go out into the working world. But if you're a college student, no matter which college you go to, you are totally qualified to have an internship and start gaining experience. I think I was more insecure during my job application process than I was for the rest of my, entire college experience. The best way I found to get over that was to find a list of like Forbes 30 under 30 or like the best 25 designers in, the tech industry. And then I would go to their LinkedIn profiles and I would look at, now they are, the head product manager at Google. But where did they start? And you'll find that a lot of them end up transferring around schools. A lot of them did a lot of like freelance part-time work before they got to where they are. You end up on some very windy roads on your job application process. And so you shouldn't feel as though you don't deserve to be where you are, because certainly we all start somewhere. It feels like you don't know what you're doing, but I guarantee you really no one else does. And LinkedIn's great because you can see people's past histories and exactly where they started and that it wasn't always in the avenue that they ended up. Now, after having watched this video, if there's a question that is lingering in your mind that you wish I would have answered, leave that in the comment section. I will do my utmost best to answer the ones that aren't repetitive. Plenty of other videos in the description box to continue your motivation with the job application cycle. Everything you're doing now will be worth it, I promise. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time, and Katherout.